I think the biggest problem I see for black people in America or the indigenous Americans is we haven't been able to exist outside of the confines of a white ideology, outside of the confines of systemic racism, outside of the confines of white America. We have not been able to exist on our own. So much of who we are is who they tried to make us become. In that struggle, you have what we see today, and that is Black America. Many of us are under tremendous pressure to not voice our opinions on racism.
That the country has been playing politics for a long time on this hatred. We know this. So it's easy for us to place it all on Donald Trump's shoulders. It's easy for us to place Pittsburgh on his shoulders. It's easy for me to place Charlottesville on his shoulders. It's easy for us to place El Paso on his shoulders. This is us. And if we're going to get past this, we can't blame it on him. He's a manifestation of the ugliness that's in us.
The majority of white America voted for Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is a representation of the majority of America. What they don't want to tell you all is that if racism ends tomorrow, the system is destroyed. They don't want to tell you this. So all of this propaganda is created to make the average person believe that racism is this mythical creature lurking around in the forest somewhere, looking for whom it can devour. And if you stay away from that forest, you won't be snatched up by the jaws of racism. This is why there's a big push to put all of the pressure on racism on Donald Trump, to make the average person believe that when Donald Trump is no longer in office, racism is gone and America is perfect. It is clear propaganda.
I've had the privilege of growing up in a tradition that didn't believe in the myths and the legends because we had to bear the brunt of them. Either we're going to change, Nicole, or we're going to do this again and again, and babies are going to have to grow up without mothers and fathers, uncles and aunts, friends, while we're trying to convince white folk to finally leave behind a history that will maybe, or embrace a history that might set them free from being white, finally.
And there's even more pressure for those who try to destroy racism. I don't think the country ever had or ever intended to end racism.
Finally.
What else?
Lord help us.
She doesn't care because she doesn't have to. She doesn't care because she doesn't need to. She doesn't care because how things are is how she wants them.
You don't think you will ever change and write books that incorporate white lives into them substantially?
I have done.
In a substantial way?
You can't understand how powerfully racist that question is, can you? Because you could never ask a white author, when are you going to write about black people? Whether he did or not, or she did or not. Even the inquiry comes from a position of being in the center.
And being used to being in the center.
And being used to being in the center.
I want you all to listen to good old John give us a great speech on what white privilege actually is.
Too many are angered at the words of racism. This has been a big issue for the black community since the Civil War. But this has been solved long ago by our forefathers for peace and love. And as I see it, anger is among the old chains that were binding to the people of slavery, old wounds that still seem fresh. Let me talk about old wounds. The Holocaust. That, my friends, are wounds that live among the Jewish and non-Jewish that lost lives. But this is not about color, race, religion.
This has been going on over 500 years. Think about that. This has been going on. Our situation in America has been going on for over 500 years. And this man had the audacity to compare it to something that lasted 4 years. This man had the audacity to compare 500 years of slavery and oppression and systematic racism to 4 years. 4 years. This is the epitome of racism. This is the epitome of white privilege. This is the epitome of a hate speech, because he spoke to millions of indigenous Americans and told them they were wrong because of something that he felt.
And my feeling is white people have a very, very serious problem. And they should start thinking about what they can do about it. Take me out of it.
To everybody black out there, to every indigenous American, I'm speaking to you all right now. I'm speaking to my people right now. Don't tuck your chain in anymore. Be who God said you were, and that's greatness in the flesh. I want you all to be bold, to be beautiful. I want you all to let the God inside of you shine through. Make this melanin glow. I want you all to be God in the flesh. I want you all to be great. Don't tuck your chain in anymore. Be great. Be who God said you were. That's greatness. You are great. It's not your job to make them comfortable. It's your job to be great. It's not your job to put them at ease. It's your job to be great. It's not your job to appease them. It's your job to be great. It's not your job to please them. It's your job to be great. If they don't like it, so what?
Meaning if you're going to make it in the world, in the white world, you better give it up. That's right.
Your choice is either violence or profit.
That's right. Profit meaning upward mobility, right. Conservative, or not even conservative, but certainly you're not going to emphasize your ethnicity.
But you believe in upward mobility.
Of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
Of course you do.
But I'm not going to give up one drop of melanin in order to get there. I'm not going to erase my race or my gender to get there. I want all of it. I deserve all of it, and we all do. I don't want to be blanded, bleached out in order to participate in this country. I think freedom, ideally, is being able to choose your responsibilities. Not having any responsibilities, but being able to choose which things you want to be responsible for.
Wait for it. Free Blanche. Get money. Go.